Welcome to Natural Gas World's weekly overview of the news in the global gas industry with me, Joseph Murphy. BP has unveiled its 2020 energy outlook, in which it sees the oil demand peaking in the next few years under even a best case scenario as far as producers are concerned. Now, just last year, the company was expecting oil consumption to take until the 2030s to peak. In its business as usual case, which assumes that government policies, technologies, and societal preferences continue to evolve in the way they have been in the recent past, BP expects oil demand to plateau in the early 2020s. In its other two scenarios, which see more aggressive policies pushed to tackle global emissions, oil consumption will never again return to the levels seen before the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the coronavirus pandemic has ravaged the global economy, but efforts to decarbonize energy across the world have only intensified, leading to many oil firms significantly altering their demand projections. But the outlook for gas is far stronger. The UK major expects demand to rise by a third by 2050 under a business as usual scenario. Even assuming the toughest policy action is taken against carbon emissions, gas demand will still retain 2/3 of its present volume in 3 decades' time. If we remember, BP last month unveiled its long-awaited strategy for reaching net zero emissions by 2050. That strategy calls for a 40% reduction in its oil and gas production over the next decade. Like others, the company has also reported billions of dollars in write-downs to reflect these changes. In the world of deals, Texan oil producer Kosmos Energy has agreed to sell its interests in a raft of exploration projects in Africa and Latin America to Shell for up to $200 million. Kosmos will sell blocks off Sao Tome and Principe, Suriname, Namibia, and South Africa for $100 million upfront and a further $100 million in contingency payments, depending on exploration results. It will use proceeds from these divestments to invest in exploration prospects in the Gulf of Mexico. Both that area and West Africa are the company's core regions. Onto field work. Norway's Equinor has suffered a string of setbacks recently. The company has said it will have to drill several new wells at the problem-stricken Martin Linge field to replace some completed before it became operator of the project. Those earlier wells are now judged to be unsafe for production. Martin Linge is already significantly over its original budget and behind schedule. The cost of developing the high-pressure, high-temperature, and geologically complex field has already ballooned to $6.2 billion as of last year, almost twice as much as the projection when the project was first greenlit in 2012. First gas had been expected in 2016, but was repeatedly pushed back. Equinor in May said it had postponed the startup from late 2020 to 2021 as a result of coronavirus disruptions. The extra well work will add a further $220 million to project costs. Meanwhile, Norwegian safety authorities have launched a probe into problems with the hull of the Johan Castberg FPSO vessel, another key Equinor greenfield project in the Barents Sea. According to authorities, Equinor has identified major issues with the hull's welds. These issues could not only affect project commissioning, but also raise questions about the vessel's integrity over the field's producing life. Lastly, for Equinor, a gas leak over the weekend has delayed the restart of the Hammerfest LNG plant until September 23rd, a week and a half later than scheduled. The project had been shut down due to an unexplained outage. Over to Nigeria. Nigerian National Petroleum Corp has rejected claims that the cost of the AKK gas pipeline was inflated by over $1.5 billion. It was responding to a report by Nigeria's online Point Blank News, which suggested evidence of corruption. Citing a report by the Bureau of Public Procurement, the news agency said that the cost of pipes had been raised almost sixfold to $3,000 per meter. The AKK pipeline, which has a budget of $2.6 billion according to NNPC, will carry gas to new power plants being built across Nigeria, playing a key role in efforts to boost the share of gas in the country's energy mix. This has been Natural Gas World's weekly overview of the news in the global gas industry with me, Joseph Murphy. Thank you, and see you next time.